First of all, I want to thank you for purchasing one of our Mantaray cavitation plates. This is just a little home video just to give you an idea of what you can expect when installing one of these units. If you've installed one before, then this video will help you just understand our unit a little bit better. Our units are made of 100% fiberglass and made durable to last you a long time. But let's go over a few items first before we get started, and these are the tools that possibly you may need. There's a couple that you will need, but there's a couple of units that you may need to use, but it's optional. The first thing is a grinder. I purchased this at one of our local hardware stores. It makes installation a lot easier. If you have one at home, great. If you don't, it's not really necessary. You can use a sander also. You can use a circular sander, you can use a oscillating sander. Also, you'll need a boxing wrench with a half-inch socket, and a boxing wrench also to tighten your bolts once you get on there. Also, you're going to need a silicone gun. These you can purchase at your hardware store. They're not expensive, but then again, it's good to have one anytime you need to use it later. The other thing also that I mentioned in my installation is a quick grip. Now this is a quick grip. You can buy these. They're also good to use later if you want to use it for installing other items around your home. I recommend that you purchase 2 tubes of silicone. That's 100% silicone. I don't recommend marine silicone because if you ever have to take off the unit, you're going to have to tear it off. It works like liquid nails, and it's just not a good thing to use as far as I'm concerned. Use 100% silicone. You can buy this at your hardware store also. You may need a jigsaw, you may not, depending on the installation you have. The jigsaw, and we'll go over that, why to use this. And of course, use the old trusty drill. With a 5/16 bit. So first of all, what we're going to do is I'm going to tell you a little bit about our unit. Before you put your unit on, you need to dry install it. And by dry installing, I mean take your unit and try and slide it over your cavitation plate on your engine to see if it goes on smoothly. If it doesn't, then mark on the sides where you think you're going to have to sand it down a little bit so it'll slide in smoothly. It shouldn't be too much. These gaps are made 3 inches wide. I don't make them wider because otherwise it's best to be able to take away, and then you can't put the stuff back on, so you don't want to do that. So kind of get your unit on there. If it kind of like drags on there, you can see more or less where it gets kind of tight. So after if that's the case, then measure where you need to grind it. If it fits on smoothly, well, you don't have to do anything. The unit will go on. So take your unit out. What you're going to do is you're going to take that silicone and you're going to fill these grooves. There's a groove in here where the plate slides on. Make sure you fill that groove completely. That's why I say to buy 2 tubes of silicone. You want to put as much silicone as you can, because the silicone becomes not only a cushion, but it also becomes an adhesive. So make sure you fill it real good. Fill all this gap real good. Then take your unit, put it back on your lower unit, and slide it back on. So now you have your unit on there with the silicone on, and you're ready to go with part B, which is the tie plate. Now I send you a tie plate that is usually 6 inches wide or 6 1/4 inches wide by 8 inches long. And the reason I have to do that is because I never know how long your lower unit can be, depending on horsepower. So I got to send something that's kind of universal. But it doesn't really matter. Some units come with a V shape, like your Evinrude's and your Johnson. The older models have a V shape on the end. Some of them now, the new E-Techs, the Yamahas, the Mercuries are usually flat, so you don't have to really worry about cutting a groove on your unit as far as part B goes. But if you do have to cut a groove, what you do is you take the tie plate and place it underneath your unit. Get it even with the cavitation plate here, and then cut your template out. In other words, you're going to use your lower unit as your template. So just measure where you need to cut it, and you're going to groove it. So that way you know where to cut it. Take your unit, and after you've done your cutting, well, you're going to end up with a unit with a V on it, and that is going to go right in straight and be right against your lower unit here. So now you've cut your plate B, you've put it into your unit, and this is where your grip comes in. Now, this grip here comes in very handy. What you do is you put this grip right at the very point right here and tighten it. And what you're going to do is you're going to tighten this unit. You're going to tighten it right at the end. You're just going to squeeze it together here until you can't go any further. And what that's going to do is going to tie your unit in real tight. Keep it from slipping anymore. Take your drill. Drill your holes. You got 2 holes you're going to drill. You're going to drill 1 on each side. So you got a 5/16 inch hole. Take your bolts and put them on. Then tighten them. Do not release that grip until you've tightened the bolts on there, and that's going to keep your unit from coming off. After you've done your bolts and put on your bolts, then go ahead and take the grip off, and that'll slip right off. Your unit is now on your lower unit, and it's very, very snug. Take silicone. There's a little gap right in the middle here that you're going to have where your tie plate meets your lower unit. Fill it with silicone on the top and underneath. Make sure you put a bead there. If you don't, when your unit is running, it's putting so much water around that prop, it's going to act like a jet ski pea, and it's just going to shoot out like that. So fill it up real good. Make it do it. Place a bead of silicone along the edge. Make sure you don't get near your water ports. All the way across on the inside, on both sides, and underneath. So that way you're making sure your unit is well siliconed in. Now remember, silicone does not dry automatically. The bead on the outside may look dry, but on the inside it's still moist. So my suggestion is don't run your boat for at least 24 hours. Let it sit, let it cure. If you leave it out in the sun, it's going to cure even faster, but 24 hours will make that silicone bead cure the way it is. So now you've installed your unit. You've got something that's going to last you for a long time. Make sure you check your unit at least twice a year. Just move it around. Make sure it's not loose in any way, or silicone's come off, because silicone does wear off. If it does, just repack it with silicone or re-silicone it on the outside. And you'll have a unit that's going to last you for many, many years. Well, again, thank you for purchasing one of our units, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.